Tonight on Video Game Movie Anatomy, we're covering the most recent release, Ratchet and Clank, and we are joined in studio by the star, the voice of Ratchet, Mr. James Arnold Taylor. So stay with us. We're going to be talking all about it.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movie. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Video Game Movie Anatomy.
Welcome to Video Game Movie Anatomy, where we dissect the film adaptations of some of our favorite interactive media. I am one of your hosts, the internet's Mark B. Donica, and you can follow me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica, joined as always by Mrs. Stacey Shuttleworth.
Hey guys, you can find me online at Ye Old Nerd or all across the web at Nerds Doing Stuff.
And you're pretty excited because you're sitting next to an icon. Mr. James Arnold Taylor is joining us, friend of the network and star. I don't care what you tell me, Hollywood. This man is the star of this film. Get your wits out of here. Sir, in case the folks haven't been able to find you on Twitter.
Yes, it is Jat Actor, J-A-T Actor, A-C-T-O-R. And it's Jat Actor on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. I keep it all consistent.
You have a wonderful presence on social media.
Oh,
if you don't follow him, you totally should.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to be talking about your long-awaited screen adaptation of the Ratchet and Clank franchise, which you have been at from the beginning.
Well, I you know what? I was not the original Ratchet.
My research has
No, it's okay. It's okay, and I prefer that. I wish I was. Mikey Kelly, who is a dear friend of mine and a great actor, was the voice of Ratchet only in the very first game, Ratchet and Clank, the original game, and then I came in after that, and I've been in, I think, 16 titles that I've done, whether he's had cameos or they've been all of the different games.
Move Heroes.
Yeah, Hot Shots Golf 4.
Hot Shots Golf, yes.
Yeah, Hot Shots Golf 4. And so Ratchet has been in so many different things, and Mikey was the first Ratchet. I have been the second Ratchet, but now with the new game that is based on the movie, based on the game, we have put me back into the original story. And
you have had the opportunity to go back and sort of rewrite your own beginning.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, we corrected that. No, and Mikey's a great guy, great sport about it. He was my brother Turtle in Leonardo in TMNT. I was Leonardo. He was Michelangelo, and so we give each other a bad time. Mikey Kelly, yeah. So Ratchet sounded more like this the first time, and now he sounds like this.
Who knew? Everybody who played.
That's all right. No, not a lot of people know that, actually. People do kind of wonder.
I mean, it's me. Yeah. I am evident of that.
That's fine.
And I had that demo disc. Like, what's this weird rabbit-looking thing? It's a lot of fun. Stacey, you have a very long history with this franchise. Why don't you tell the good folks at home about it?
Well, I do. I mean, I've been playing the game since they came out in 2002. Following the franchise as it grew and, continued to be hilarious and entertaining. So,
God bless you, Stacey.
And this new game is no different.
She's got our Secret Agent Clank. We've also got Ratchet and Clank Future over on the couch.
Now, Secret Agent Clank, in the game it says, "We now return to Secret Agent Clank." That was me. And then there was the bad guy that was the German guy that, Secret Agent Clank, I shall get you and destroy you. Yeah, that was, you're no match for me. Yeah, that was me too. So,
all over the place.
David Kaye didn't even know that.
He didn't?
No, he didn't know, because most of the time we didn't record. We never recorded together.
Oh,
except for the movie.
That's right.
In the history of the game, it doesn't come across as such.
I know.
You have such a wonderful rapport as these characters.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're getting all of the secrets of Hollywood revealed.
Just destroyed.
So here on the show, we talk about a specific movie of the night. Tonight we're talking about Ratchet and Clank. For those of you who haven't seen it yet, go out and see it. Support this film.
Yes,
please.
It
is a step in the right direction for video game based movies. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the franchise, the breakdown is as such. When the galaxy comes under the threat of a nefarious space captain, a mechanic and his newfound robot ally join an elite squad of combatants to save the universe. I'm not a VO actor, so I try not to be.
That's pretty good.
I do what I can. So from there, we give our quick review. We call it a speed run.
Okay.
So it's you go into the video game store. The game varying speeds. You look on the back of a video game. It's got a little bit of a box quote.
Sure.
So this is our version of that. Stacey, would you like to go first?
I can start.
Why don't
This
you
one
start?
is one of those not quite so speedy.
Oh,
Oh, please.
It's
go
fairly
for it.
speedy
No, go
still,
for it.
okay?
Okay.
It's pretty good for
we
me.
don't have to talk too fast either.
All right. So this is one film that critics and fans disagree about. But Ratchet and Clank takes an immersive gameplay experience and crams it into an hour and a half worth of cutscene-like scenes. While the movie has some obvious pacing issues and lacks awe-inspiring twists in the classic story, there is a genuine love for both the franchise and the fans of the franchise that really shines through.
I can agree with that.
I can agree with that too. Yeah.
And when we go more into the casting and the film and plot discussions, we'd like to hear all about it.
Oh, sure.
For me, I'm going to say that Ratchet and Clank is the most definitive video game movie while leaving the video game elements right out of the movie. The elements that carry over from the video game are the ones that are sort of left just by, I mean, they should be here, I suppose. It seemed like a begrudging decision.
Yeah.
And really, the fans of the franchise get a chance to go, there's more there. Like, I know there's more there.
Yeah, and I won't disagree with you on that. I won't. I mean, I think that's the challenge. The biggest challenge they had was to take a game that has been for 14 years. Stacey and I were talking about this beforehand. You know, how do you do that and cram it into a 90-minute movie that everybody's going to get and enjoy as well? And, you know, obviously Hollywood thinks about those things more so than all of us that go, yeah, I just want it to be just like the game, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they tried to stuff elements from 2 different games for this new story. Yeah. And unfortunately, that left a lot of the basics sort of at the door. Which was unfortunate. There was a lot of stuff in here. We'll talk more when we get into cast. So let's speed through that.
Okay.
Let's go to our controller toss moment. That's a moment when you're watching the movie and you have got to be kidding me. You wing your controller across the room. Stacey, was there one for you in this movie, positive or negative?
I mean, I had a positive one. I had a good one. Okay. So when Ratchet is being scanned and Clank's trying to figure out what he is.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. That's nice.
There's Daxter
we
up
see
on
Sly.
the screen.
There's the second animated character that comes up is just like a guy. I don't know if you noticed. He was actually somebody that worked in Insomniac Games and was very dear to the folks there, and sadly passed away.
But he's been Easter egg in all of the games.
Right.
And so he's an Easter egg. So I thought that was wonderful that they did that.
He's one of the unlockable things in the game, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Is that right? Yeah.
I think
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So. I think he's one of the skins that you can unlock with the bolts.
But there was a couple other characters that showed up in that too. Yeah. Sly.
Still not hearing anything about Sly Cooper, which is supposed to be this year as well.
Yeah, I haven't. You know, I mean, I sit there with Kevin Munroe, and I have been over the last couple of weeks doing press and stuff, and he's like, we'll see. You know, he's not talking. So
because these 2 trailers, when the Ratchet and Clank trailer and the Sly Cooper trailer both dropped, I think not just the PlayStation community, but the video game community as a whole went, yes!
Yeah.
Fine, like, that's it. Give us the characters that we're familiar with.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I mean, I think that the other thing that is a possibility, that should be a possibility, that I hope would be a possibility, although if people go see it, it could be a greater possibility, is I think that these would work in long form, like as TV shows. You know,
Netflix series,
Absolutely.
PlayStation
Netflix
original
series.
series.
Great.
Yeah, that would be really actually very cool because you could do so much more then. We could pay more homage to the games. We could make it feel more like a game. You know, I think that was kind of that they walked that line. Now, T.J. Fixman was the writer of most of the Ratchet and Clank games, and he wrote the original draft of the script. It is a different version than what he did. Kevin Munroe came in and did some changes and such. And it's not to bash either one of them. I will say that TJ's script probably had more. Well, not probably. It did. It had more game stuff in it. You know, more things that were nods to the gamers. So, you know, that's a choice they have to make when they're making something like this too, though. So, you know, it's. I think it's still a fun movie. I think it's family friendly, and that's been. You know, I've got a kick out of the critics saying, you know, well, I mean, your kids will like it. It's like. Well, yeah. Isn't that the point?
That was what it was designed to be.
Do you have a controller toss moment from the film?
Gosh.
That you're willing to share?
Let me think. You know, I've seen it a few times now. I'm trying to think of what. I mean, there's a few good ones, you know, that I liked. I don't know. Well, you're going to talk about favorite scenes, right? So
Yeah, near the end of the show, we talk about our favorite lines and favorite scenes. And
okay, it kind of goes into that. So because it's all good stuff. As far as I have bad, I wish there was more Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm selfish that way. I would have liked more of our story, But
The first thing that they did when you both of your characters joined the Galactic Rangers was split you up.
yeah.
And it really
It stilted both of the characters' development because we never got that payoff of here's what I learned on this end and here's what I learned on this end. Now let's bring this together and make our own thing. We never got that
Right.
payoff, which was unfortunate.
it was just kind of crushed back together.
Yeah,
it was
I
convenient.
again won't disagree with that. And the funny thing is when you record a script like this, we did it 3 years ago
Yeah.
originally, and then came back in for retakes, and you change things and stuff gets mixed, moved around. You forget, okay, I don't know what's going to end up in the movie, what isn't going to end up in the movie. So. Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, I guess there was.
So there was some stuff that ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any possibility of a home as a
I wonder
included in a home
if
release?
they will do any of that. I think it would be neat if they did, if they had some stuff. The thing that also, though, is like, and this is not, people would be like, oh, of course he's going to justify it. He's in the movie and he's Ratchet. He's the star of the movie. Oh, see what I did there? No, I kid. Is they had so much, I don't know. They just had a lot to juggle.
They had a lot to juggle.
And
That's a
they
good way of
only
putting
had
it.
a $20 million budget. Now you go, $20 million is a lot of money. Not for an animated movie this year. I mean, if you consider the fact that like Zootopia was close to $200 million to make, and it's competition. That's what everybody's going, well, it's not Zootopia, it's not a Pixar. It's like, yeah, it also was only made for $20 million.
It's hard for even a DreamWorks or an Illumination, any non-Disney or Pixar animation house is going to have an upward battle.
Yeah. It's
And
tricky.
I will say, utilizing the game engine is probably one of the smartest things for the game audience to go, oh, well, that's literally the game coming to life on the screen.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful...
That's what I thought was the coolest part, is they used the same models from the game to, so when they went to make the movie, they went to Insomniac and they said, give us your models. We want to make sure it's all the same. And so it is. I feel like there's times where you do kind of feel like if you had a controller, you could pan up and look around and, in the movie.
The movie would be killer on PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
That'd be great.
And I will say that we're getting back into an era of animation that has such a wider color palette and a wider imagination for aliens. With these aliens, unless you've played the Ratchet and Clank games, you're not as familiar with them. So you're seeing different, still somewhat humanoid, but different colors, different hues, a lot of different ideas, textures, but the same ideals with the texting.
Yeah.
Just try to keep us off of our
They're
phone.
just, yeah, that was
Doesn't
actually
matter
pretty
what
funny.
race you are in.
Yeah.
Alien world.
For my controller toss moment, mine was not having the promise fulfilled of Ratchet and Clank. This didn't feel like a Ratchet and Clank movie.
Yes.
This felt like a Captain Quark movie.
Yeah.
Which is fine because
Captain Quark's
Quark
great.
was pretty amazing.
And Jim
But,
Ward did a fantastic job,
He
as
did.
always, voicing him. Yes.
like under favorite lines, I just wrote Quark for some of them. But yeah,
Much
so
everything you
that
said.
would be the one thing is we never got the promise. We never fulfilled the promise of a Ratchet and Clank movie, which is unfortunate. Beyond unfortunate.
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get into the cast. They have some guy, Arnold Taylor, weird name. James Arnold Taylor, the lead. Damn it, Hollywood. Excuse me. Let my colors show a little bit too much. As Ratchet, David Kaye, of course, as Clank, Jim Ward as Captain Quark, and then we had Armin Shimmerman as Dr. Nefarious.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Totally great.
Nefarious has always just been one of the most fun villains.
Yeah, and that is kind of I guess that would be my controller moment, is that once he comes into play, you go, well, there's the villain of the movie.
Exactly.
You know,
You have somebody named Nefarious.
Yeah, but also just Armin's performance, and then as we were talking about before, how he looked. He was it was a beautiful.
The character design that they did, I would watch the real time creation of that
Yeah.
to see the animator go ugh. Like that. I would watch
Transition.
all of that. I would watch the documentary on
Yeah.
Nefarious,
Yeah.
and with such a huge and boisterous performance
Yeah.
that we've come to know from this character and from this
Yeah.
actor, Chairman Drek just doesn't fit
hold
the
up.
bill. No.
Yeah.
It's like if you were going to have Nefarious take over,
Yeah.
had to have been a lot sooner in the film.
Yeah.
And that's not to discredit
No,
Paul
no.
Giamatti,
Yeah.
which is a great performance, but you can't hold a candle to it.
Right, clearly not the main star of the villainy in this film.
Yeah, and because Armin is so used to this character too, but he just puts everything into it. I mean, he would make sure when we do the sessions for the game that it was like the last thing on his plate for the week, because he goes in there and just does a throat ripper, and everything is just that,
Can't
he's
imagine doing
just screaming.
much after that.
No, but he's brilliant at it, and yeah, Jim, I'm listening. He's
So good. The timing that and I think another issue with it is you have actors, regardless of their experience in their end,
Yep.
who haven't been with a franchise
Yeah.
for over a decade.
Yeah.
So it's hard to step in and find your footing.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say for actors like Paul Giamatti, Rosario. Although Rosario Dawson, I loved her
I
performance.
thought she was really a
fantastic.
highlight. Yeah, did you think so?
I think
Yeah.
she was my favorite new of the new characters introduced.
And also her design I thought was really great. She looked the character was great, and I think it really conveyed her emotional things that she was like when she gets a little nuts. She's a little crazy.
The subtleties in the character,
Yeah.
and the subtleties in all of the characters is a testament to the animation studios.
Yeah, Ratchet,
Yeah.
I thought was, it's funny because I'm able to kind of remove myself from it and look at it and go, okay, that's Ratchet. And he's got some wonderful facial moments in there too, where he's just making these little faces. And, and then when spoiler alert, when he sees that Quark may not be all that he expects him to be, and he gives that look. I mean, it's like kudos to the animators.
It was a real
That was a
heartbreak.
good-
Yeah, and I didn't do it. That wasn't me, that was the animators. So, unless they did have cameras on us, so they probably were taking it from my brilliance.
Most people would. Most people would.
I'm kidding.
And then we have Sylvester Stallone as Victor Von Ion. The
Yes, the best.
couldn't even believe. Like when I saw Stallone, I was like, Stallone? You got Stallone for this?
Defect.
That added so much more like. This guy will tear you apart, no matter what. It was a very good mini boss.
Mini boss.
Yeah, no, I guess that's appropriate,
it. Yeah,
right? Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good, but no, it's hard. And Bella Thorne,
Thorne is Cora.
She's
Yes.
been
Yes.
wonderful, and I thought she fit that mold just right. And the great thing for Bella was that she got to use her regular just voice, because she's got a pretty deep voice for a young lady. I mean, she's only 19, 20 years old, and she's got that very just kind of whatever, And she, I'm a little frightened of her. Yeah.
Lucky you didn't have to do any sessions with her.
No, she was actually very sad about that.
Yeah.
But she recorded probably a year and a half after we recorded our lines. So we did the whole thing. Then it was done. It was animated, and then they bring in the various celebrities, and they don't know. So you've got scratch tracks. They did all of the other voice actors in Canada, a company called Rainmaker.
Okay.
And they did the casting. Ned Lott, who's a casting director, is a good friend of mine. He and the folks at Rainmaker cast all these other actors. So actually, if fans of Johnny Test, that I played Johnny in that. Johnny Test is this little kid, and I did 6 seasons of that. The actor that plays my dad in Johnny Test is in this. And in fact, the voice that he uses in one scene, when Drek is leaving the planet and one of the aliens comes up and says, "Sir," and he gives him the planet's going to explode, that's Ian James Corlett, and he is doing basically the voice he did as Johnny's dad. So I thought I got kind of a kick out of that. Yeah, pretty good.
That's a fun one for everybody who's a fan of the franchise. The weirdest thing when we were talking earlier, we should have just been recording for like 20 minutes before. But when we were talking about how, because some of these are such famous voices, it's hard to get them out of your head. And I will also reference the newest Jungle Book. Yeah. Because with King Louie, Christopher Walken does an amazing performance.
That's right. Come on. Do it.
Mark, say it.
See, I didn't. I initially went
ask
into
you.
saying this,
Yeah.
forgetting that you had that amazing impression, and then once I started talking about it, I went, "Oh, he's gonna do it," and I'm gonna melt.
What's the line? What's the song? I mean, he doesn't really sing in the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but people were telling
I want to
me.
be like you.
I want to be like you.
No.
See, the thing with him
good.
is they essentially put his eyes.
Yeah.
So you can see the actor in it. And with Bill Murray, it took a little bit while to go, okay, that's Baloo, as opposed to that's Bill Murray playing Baloo.
Yeah.
So I had a similar thing here with both Chairman Drek and Grimroth. But, I mean, great performances,
Yeah.
but it's like,
Right.
oh, that's that actor and that's that actor.
Yeah. Stacey,
Couldn't
what do you
necessarily get lost in the characters. What did you think about the...
John Goodman was particularly hard. Like, he would speak, and he did a great job, but that's
John
John
Goodman?
Goodman.
That's John Goodman.
John Goodman is giving Ratchet advice.
Yeah.
This is great.
John
I know.
Goodman needing a very nice cup of tea to clear out whatever
yeah.
he was working on.
Yeah, that really kind of, oh, Ratchet, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. I think that they find, I can't tell you how many times I get into a studio and I'm working with celebrities and they turn to me and say, this is harder than it looks. It's like, yeah, it is. I mean, it's an acquired taste. I mean, what you guys do is harder than it looks as well. But for us that are voice actors that are used to making funny faces and not caring how we look or sound, feel or sound or whatever, it's just part of our job. They're not used to that, so I think it does take them longer to warm up to it. Now, also to be fair to them, I think most of them had to ADR most of their dialogue, which means they had to do it to picture because the film had already been pretty much animated.
Okay, that makes
Right.
sense.
So yeah,
And I actually did notice a couple of
Sync.
sync issues.
Yeah.
So that's all right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can understand that. So this was the movie based on the game based on the former game.
Yes.
So in terms of an adaptation of the game that this is directly based off of, pretty dang accurate. But going back to the 1.5 game that it is based off of,
So confusing.
we've had
Scott, Marty.
we're not talking about that one right now. Where it's a paradox. There are some changes. So, Stacey, if you could speak to some of the stuff that's changed, possibly for the better or otherwise.
I mean, they definitely fleshed out the story more. The entire thing with the Galactic Rangers is essentially a new concept, with Ratchet coming in and having these high hopes of joining the Galactic Rangers. So that was a different storyline. I actually really liked how they changed that, though. I think that was one of the good changes. It was pretty fleshed out. It was a pretty, thorough team that you got to work with.
Yeah.
And it was interesting how it manifested itself in the game.
Yeah.
You'd kind of have these support characters popping in where you didn't have those in the original story.
And we got a lot of the guns.
Yeah.
A lot of the guns.
Not surprised we didn't get the Discoinator.
Yeah.
That one was always one of my favorites.
I always
Discotron.
liked that one too. Yeah, the Groovitron.
Discotron.
Yeah,
The Groovitron. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, me too.
Loved the Sheepinator.
Yeah.
That was a very great surprise
Sheepinator.
to get Drek out of there.
Yeah.
Beyond happy that was the one to do it.
Yeah.
That got a big pop out of the crowd, like, he's a sheep now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kids laughing, just what? And beautifully fluffy sheep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with having something so direct to compare it to,
Yeah.
so having it with the game, with something. I think one of my biggest problems with all of the reviewers is just play the game. Well, no, it's two different things.
Right.
This should be able to stand up on its own, and it needed an opportunity to do that. But now people are just falling on the crutch of just play the game.
Right. Well, and I did think it was kind of interesting that they released the game first.
Mm-hmm.
So you go into it with all of this background information that you get
Yeah.
from the game, and I think that did help. I saw the movie originally before playing the game.
Okay.
And then I played through the game, and I mean, I still enjoyed the movie the first time around as a fan. But going back and playing through the game, it gave you a bunch of extra cutscenes, extra moments with Ratchet and Clank together where you kind of saw that bond forming a little bit more. So it did fill in some of the cracks.
Some of the cracks in time.
Yeah. See, that's a different one for another day.
Yeah. I really hope so. That's
In the future, you can do that.
That's a good one.
That
Let's just
right
keep
up your
making
arsenal. Yeah. we could go Commando if you want, but no.
I would, but we're a little deadlocked for time.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Good job.
But yeah, so as a result, having a better product be released before kind of neuters the experience that you're giving the audience in the theater.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that it's a whole kind of experiment for them too. This is all new ground for Sony and for everybody, to kind of see, okay, how do you release a game and a movie that were games, and now it's a whole other beast. And a lot of people are like, well, yeah, but it'd be better when it's one of the the new big one that's coming out. There's a fighter one that's is World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. Oh,
it's like, yeah, that's a whole other genre, man. It's a whole other thing. So
it's a war drama versus a sci-fi comedy.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to really do that, where people are like, well, Ratchet and Clank didn't really meet that expectation of adapting a movie into a game or a game into a movie. It's like, well, they're different pieces.
That's the thing, is because the fandoms are so different.
Yes.
The markets are so different.
Yes.
The variety of types of films that you can get. Like, you can't compare Ratchet and Clank to Hitman Agent 47. You can't compare it to Prince of Persia. You can't compare it to Assassin's Creed. Like,
no.
This is a completely different world we live in. And
yet most of the reviewers that I'm seeing when I'm watching, because I watch.
And unfortunately, we're going to be reading some a little bit later.
I go on there and I go on the internets and I watch them, all of you
An
people.
internet or two.
And I don't think it's fair. It's like, no, don't judge this, put that in the same standard. It's just like Hollywood saying, well, this isn't Zootopia. It's like, okay, well, again,
you're right.
Yeah,
we didn't have
not.
8 years to flesh a story out. We didn't have $200 million to work on and change and do, and again, I'm not making excuses,
No,
but I'm
of course
saying,
not.
I think that for what they had and what they did, I think it's really, and the game has been very well received, which is
Yeah.
good.
The game is great.
And I don't know if you can speak to this, but I wonder how much of the success of the game ties in with the success of the film. Like, were they two different budgets?
Yeah.
Was it okay? So it's two
different things, but it matters.
Yeah.
It matters how one or the other does, I think, So people, please go see it still. Come on.
I would 100% recommend it. If you're a fan of this franchise, and if you're a fan of this world and this type of video game movie that we're doing, go see it, because it's a lot of fun.
It is.
And the fans of the game, I'm on Twitter every day. I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm literally getting hundreds and hundreds of people saying, I just loved it. It was fun. It took me back to my childhood. It was just like, the game. Or I just enjoyed seeing them on the big screen. I loved kind of being able to go to the movies and hear you guys and stuff. So it's like, people are enjoying it.
Hearing Ratchet in such a huge, Dolby 5.1
Yeah.
is like, what? I can't believe I'm watching this
It's
on a
pretty
movie
fun.
right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
I mean, overwhelmingly, the fans are enjoying it.
Yeah.
I mean, the critics may not like it, but then again, they're basing it on this kind of crazy standard, holding it up to films that it's not in the same category as.
Well, it's for Hollywood, it's and the Pixar award goes to
Kind of.
Pixar. I mean, it's
And even now, the fact that Miyazaki gets American distribution through Disney is like, even if a Miyazaki film wins, it's like, well, that's Disney
Still
too.
Disney.
Yeah, it's still
Which is great,
Yeah.
and great for that studio.
And I love Disney, and they hire me, and thank you so much. And I've been in one of those Miyazaki ones, and that's great. But no, it's just, I don't think it's fair for critics to do that.
I don't think it's fair for
Right.
creators either.
Yeah.
No.
It's good to have standards, but they can't be impossible.
Yeah.
So moving into production development a little bit, this movie was announced April 2013. How much of the movie did you guys have recorded by then?
April of 2013, when it was announced, when we did that trailer. None of it.
None of it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did that. It was so funny. My studio was being rebuilt, and so I was working out of my closet in my master bedroom walk-in closet we converted into a studio, and I recorded that. I was there, and the rest of the guys were, from their respective studios, and we were voicing it all, and then they were patching us all together for that. Because I loved that little that teaser trailer.
The teaser
I thought it was
a
very
lot of fun.
Yeah.
Garnered a lot of excitement.
But yeah, no, we had not yet recorded, but we did shortly thereafter. Then we recorded the film in its entirety. Then we started recording the game a few months later. And the game took a lot more sessions than the movie did to record, which makes sense.
Right.
Any sort of an idea of total length of dialogue you recorded for the entire project?
For that entire project, lengthwise, gosh, I don't know. We did, I think I did 4 sessions for the movie, and I did 5 or 6 sessions for the game. So,
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. And it's just with the game, you know, and the nice thing though is after doing so many games, they don't need to get as many, you know,
They can pull your efforts from previous games.
Yeah, which they do. And then somebody actually tweeted me and they said, you know, they emailed me actually and said, I was bummed that the game, you know, they're in Norway and they're like, it's replaced, it's not the American stuff. But then once you start falling and fighting, it's you. I was like, oh, okay, that's good.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, you can keep
Didn't want to re-record all those.
Yeah.
You don't have to re-record in Norwegian.
No.
And we already spoke to the fact that TJ Fixman wrote part of the script for the first.
Yeah, he wrote the first draft, and then as it happens in Hollywood,
As it happens.
things get changed. And so we were talking about the Superman Lives.
Yeah, the Death of Superman Lives.
The Superman Lives of documentary, and how Kevin Smith, you know, wrote the first one, and then all these other guys came in and rewrote it. It happens all the time.
Completely different movie from the beginning to
Yes.
what's on the screen.
Yeah, so there are some changes. Yeah, there's definitely some things that were in the original script that are not there now. That, you know, a few of them that I was like, oh, I really wanted that.
Did that have anything to do with the delay? Because it was delayed from 2015 to 2016?
No, I think really what the delay was getting distribution and getting a film company to back it and to see that, because I think there really was this resistance, like, oh, it's a video game, you know, really? And it's like, yeah, and the fans are dying to see this. And so finally, I guess they had like a cut even a year ago that they showed to fans out in Burbank, and they had the distributors, you know, the possible distributors there, and they kind of put them in between all the fans, and the fans were going nuts. And so it was like, oh, okay, they saw the actual benefit of this. So, you know, we'll see how it fares. I know it made about $5 million this weekend, and I think it would have been great if it made like 20. But
It would have been great.
Right.
There's still time.
Still time
With a window like this. I mean, despite having Captain America come out this week,
it's gonna be tough.
There's still that opportunity.
Well, here, no matter what movie you go to see, buy a ticket for Ratchet and Clank.
That's perfect.
Excellent.
If anybody's sitting on old AMC gift cards,
yeah, there you
know,
go.
there you go. Get
Buy
yourself
a
an
ticket.
extra ticket.
Come on.
And do yourself a favor, but watch the movie.
Watch the movie. It's a lot of
Yes.
fun. It actually is a lot of fun. I mean, my wife, who is so uninterested in Hollywood and so just, you know, she's been, God bless her, we've been married 25 years. She's just like, that was really fun. Yeah, I really liked it. I liked Ratchet. He was cute, you know, and everything. Well, that's me, honey. Yeah, but, you know, he was good. And Clank, I like Clank. You know, so no, it was good. My daughter loved it. She's 11 years old, and she was having a great time every time she's seen it. So, you know, everywhere we've been, people have really enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
I think it's just a fun movie. I think it's like, what did you expect? That's kind of my question to the people that are like, well, it's like, well, what did you expect? I mean, outside of the things that we've covered, which I won't disagree with. Yeah, it would have been great if there was more Ratchet and Clank storyline and stuff. I don't really know what people, you know, I mean, it's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful looking film. I think it's well produced. It sounds great. It looks great. It's funny. And yeah, so I don't know.
But speaking to Ratchet a little bit, we get a couple of teases here and there about him being a Lombax.
Yeah.
And that storyline has sort of come back in more recent games about him being the last
Crack in
quote-unquote
time, yeah.
last
Right.
Lombax. Is there any hope for the future in moving forward? What somebody asked in the chat, and unfortunately I didn't get their name down because it moved by too quick.
Yeah.
So for a sequel, would you be more open to an original story based on this universe that has been established, or going back and getting something based on another game or games, 1.5 games again, move for the next one?
That's interesting. I mean, I've heard them talk about that, saying how, you know, they have such an open palette of choices in that. You know, again, it really depends on how well the movie does, and if it does well, then there's that possibility of a sequel. But I think that it would be interesting. I think it would be great. I think it's certainly an opportunity for the fans of the game to go back and do some more of the other stories, or at least have that. I mean, I loved Crack in Time. I love, the whole concept of finding out more about Ratchets. I'm selfish that way, obviously, but no, I love this character. I want to know more about him. I want to know where the other Lombax are. We'll see.
Hard to ask the lead character if they want more of the lead character.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no, I don't think so.
I think we've gotten all that we needed to.
Yeah, that's enough of him.
I'm
On to
fine with
someone else. And to speak to the dad plot line, Kevin Munroe did say that they wanted to include stuff about his dad and kind of go into that past a little bit more.
That?
He did say
Oh,
that.
okay, good. Then I can
he
say
did,
it.
so,
there was more.
Okay.
Yeah,
There was more.
that they wanted to, but just really didn't have the time.
Not enough
So-
time. Don't believe it. Don't believe everything you hear. So, if you would like to shut your ears, we're going to go into critical and box office
it's
just
fine,
for a little
it's
bit.
fine.
With a budget of $20 million, it made a little bit more than $5 million for its opening weekend. There's still plenty of time. Go support it. It has an IMDb rating of 6.8, which is one of the best of any of the video game movies
there
that
you go.
we've done.
Okay.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes has
Yeah.
had it when we did this at a 19% for critics, 61 for audiences. Daniel Gelb from AllMovie.com says, it's tough to understand why this adaptation is happening now, but parents looking for a matinee outing for their young ones could do a lot worse than this.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice-ish. It's a step in the right direction.
Yes.
Rick Bentley from the Fresno Bee says, Ratchet and Clank is an energetic, animated, and colorful trip down memory lane aimed at the blurry-eyed fans who have carpal tunnel syndrome from all those hours playing the game.
Well, that's a very nice one as well.
Yes.
Okay, good.
How's your wrist? You need to stretch a little bit.
I'm telling you.
Like just watching the movie, just like, ow, why, ow.
No.
Gosh.
Yeah, no.
A lot of folks in the chat actually that are joining us saying that they saw the movie and enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
So that's
Thank
great.
you.
Let's go into favorite line. So favorite line is it's pretty straightforward. It's our favorite lines of dialogue in the film, and it's a lot harder for one that you're watching in the theater to go, stop, I need to write that down. But I have. So let's just establish Quark 100%.
All of it.
Just
pretty much everything.
Perfect
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah.
Yas Quark. But I'm sorry. I have a silly one and a real one.
Okay.
Which I tend to do a lot.
kind of have those two.
So what's your silly one?
Well, my silly one? Okay, so it's Dr. Nefarious, and I don't do voices because I would just embarrass myself. But it's when he's
We
about...
actually have Armin coming. No.
Yeah.
when he's literally about to hit the button and send the ray off into destroying planets, and he goes, maybe Trek was right. I am a mad scientist.
I thought that was
It was a lot less than just it was such a realization. It was a real moment.
He was contemplating his place in the universe
Yeah.
as he's about to do this completely evil,
almost a turn to camera.
nefarious
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. So it was great.
Dear diary. I mean journal. Yeah, I mean he had those little moments, so I thought it was
Good.
great. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's good.
Mine was the citizen that got tossed off the bridge.
Wilhelm! That's mine too.
You can't.
All of
That was
us
a classic
just
moment.
nerds just cheered, and that was the one thing for me. It's like I don't care what you people think about the movie. That is a funny joke, and nobody else has done it yet. So.
That's what a lot of people who were saying.
Oh, good.
If they were complaining about other things, they were
Yeah.
like, but that one
That
line.
Wilhelm
Come on,
Yeah.
they got the
Pretty
Wilhelm
solid.
joke.
They
That's
got
a
it.
Hollywood classic now.
I would also
Yeah.
say whoever wrote the subtitles for the planets is
Good stuff.
super on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really
That
good
was
stuff. If you're
good.
not paying attention, just like. Wait,
yeah, you get. I know. I actually, the first time I saw it, I wasn't looking there because I was just looking at the screen, and then I heard everybody laugh, and then I looked and I caught like just the tail.
Very
I'm like,
little
but I was like,
bits.
okay, good.
solid little bit.
Yeah, they did a good job with those.
I really liked the message of the movie with the line, "You don't have to do big things to be a hero, just the right ones."
Just the right ones. Yeah.
Love that
Loved
line.
that.
See, and that's the other. That's my other. That's why I turned into Jay Leno. What's my beef? Well, of course, that's my whole beef with people knocking this so heavily. When it's like, how often are there family movies that come out that actually have a good moral lesson and something quotable that you can say to your kids to help teach a lesson to them? I mean, why are we knocking this so much? Because it's not like the video game, man. It's just not cool. It's not you didn't shoot enough people.
I didn't know Pauly Shore was a reviewer.
hey, buddy.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
There he
no,
is.
it just I'm kind of beside myself with that. When it's like, come on, this had a nice message to it, and that's a good thing.
As I said that, somebody in chat, Purple Ratchet, I like the whole theme behind the film that you don't have to do big things to be great, just the
Yep.
right ones. It's
Yeah.
like, it
It
immediately.
was wonderful. It was a really nice thing to see, kind of portrayed and pushed, and
Yeah.
given to these kids. Like, hey,
And despite
this direction.
all of Quark's shortcomings, as thick as the man may be, one of my favorite things is when a hero is maybe not necessarily infallible, but
Yeah.
people can learn from his example.
Yes.
And it, like, I always say that the Lone Ranger was a better Superman than Superman was the summer of Man of Steel, because everybody changed and adapted around him. And I think with Ratchet, I mean, and Clank to some extent was as his moral compass, was allowed to really become the hero that he's destined to be.
Yeah, I think that's true. And, I guess that's that whole, you don't have to do big things, just the right things. That's going to be my new motto when people go, well, the critics and the people, you don't have to do big things and get big numbers. You just have to do the right thing.
And funnily enough, with that, I mean, a lot of the people who are again complaining are saying like, oh, it wasn't crazy. They didn't have all these crazy plot twists, and it was basically like playing the game. It's like, well,
Yeah?
that's what I signed up for. That's what I went to the theater
Do me a
for.
favor, because everybody records everything. Could you play what you just said back to yourself and realize what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you record everything I say? Do you record everything I say? Yeah, okay, sorry.
We and unfortunately, hopefully, we don't get pinged for a clip from the movie, which is essentially what that just was. Did you have another?
So aside
serious
from
line?
the just the right things, the other one that I really liked, kind of in that same giving off nice messages, the blaming yourself and taking full responsibility are two different things.
The wisdom of
The
Clank.
wisdom of Clank.
Needed more of that.
Ratchet.
Everybody's got one, and
Yes.
but
But there is only one David Kaye.
There is only one David Kaye.
People always would ask me if his voice was modulated or filtered or processed in any way. It's not. He just does that voice, and it just comes out, and it's just this wonderful. I mean, it's perfect. I just love it.
everybody who was there with a significant other or with a friend who wasn't as familiar with the franchise came out just like, I want a little Clank. I just want a little one. I want a Clank backpack.
You gotta
Yeah.
be Clank.
Like that's
Why don't those exist?
Clank backpacks?
Yeah,
Very
they need to
surprised.
get it more on the
One.
merchandising. I mean, that's the only. Every
I
time I
need
walk
one.
out,
No, I do.
yeah, right. Because
Give me one of those.
I'm telling you, I have had so many, especially young ladies, say, "Why I want a Ratchet plushie? I want like the Clank backpack. I want product, guys. Come on."
Great.
Contact. What's that really good nerd website? Crap, I don't remember it.
They create stuff for you,
They're sort of a home for
like Etsy or something.
They do a lot of creator-based stuff where they have art contests to submit and actually get. Wheel of Fine. Wheel of Fine.
that's
They
right.
make. They did a lot of the Bravest Warriors stuff.
Oh, okay, cool.
Adventure Time, Steven Universe, and they've really evolved into a brand that has fans in mind, and they do that specific stuff. So I think
that's
a
cool.
Ratchet and Clank line for them would be
Yes.
a
Great.
no-brainer. So, James.
Oh yeah. So favorite lines. Well, you guys did cover. Wilhelm is my favorite. Yeah, I
It's
love
so
that.
good.
But I also loved the whole. I can't remember the first part of it. It's so stupid. But when and then the gun gets cut. I'm listening.
It's like
he just
it's like you
don't
have the right to.
move.
You're
Yeah.
under arrest from the Galactic Rangers. Or nothing you say will stop me from this.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
just without a beat. Yeah, Jim's line was so great. But I loved, I just loved the when Ratchet and Clank meet. I thought it was very sweet and fun and okay, anytime you can stop anytime. And it's just, I don't know, it's fun.
And that
was
cute.
cute.
Was so.
Yeah, it
That
was
was
nice.
nice.
At
It
the
very
end was just
sweet.
like, oh no, he doesn't
Yeah.
want to go.
That was kind of that bond that you needed to see through
'Cause
the movie.
I saw it, I saw it before it came out, and then I saw it on the day of Friday after I'd read all these reviews and things, and friends were like, "Don't read them." I'm like, and I read them, and then I'm watching it. I'm going, "Were these people not seeing the same movie as me?" Because I know I'm biased, but I'm going, I'm trying to step away from it. I'm thinking this is just a sweet, good movie with a nice little message, and it's based off of a game that everybody loved, and we did as much as we could to cram all in. I'm an apologist for it. People are like, oh, just making excuses, yeah, blah blah blah. But
no, you're showing audiences what they're supposed to see.
Yeah.
The whole idea of critics, now that everybody can voice their opinion, is sort of going out the wayside. It's because now we're in a world where you don't speak for me. Like, I'm not going to listen to you. Like,
but I'm go see it for myself.
I have been in plenty of bad movies. I have voiced characters in some. I've got a pretty good track record, but there's a couple real stinkers. So I don't sit there and go, no, come on, man, it was good. It's like, yeah, okay, you got me. Yeah, it was a paycheck, Guilty.
I mean, there are some of those paycheck movies, and we don't hold anybody accountable. People got to work.
Plus, you don't know most of the time. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, most of those, well, no, not most, all of them, I thought, oh, well, this will be cute, this will be fun, and then you're like, ooh, wow. I won't name them, but people are going, oh, what?
That'll be interesting.
Go to
Make
my
sure to follow
IMDb.
JDT Actor on Twitter, and he'll tell you all about it. Getting a little bit into the Ratchet franchise and your involvement. Actually, most of these questions we've already asked. But what was, just in terms of the entire franchise, what is your favorite weapon?
I do think it's his wrench because it's the most.
And that was another thing that I would consider a controller toss moment for me as well, is the fact that we waited till the end of the movie to make the wrench important.
Right.
Yeah.
It should have been, hey, I've got this wrench and I'm really good with it. No, try these guns. Oh, okay, I guess you know what's right. And then he makes the realization.
Somebody did make that point to me at one point, and I couldn't disagree with them as well, that they would have liked to have seen Ratchet doing some more of the actual shooting and stuff.
There was, there was very little action in a lot of parts.
Yeah.
For considering how much was going on and how much they were getting done.
Right. But, I think that's, again, where you blur the line more so between a movie and a game, where it's like, yeah, but this
is where the action takes place.
And we don't necessarily want him just blowing everything away, so I get why they did it, but yeah, I understand that. But the wrench is pretty great, although I do love the Groovitron. I love the Sheepinator. I love all those ones. Do you remember those commercials years ago for the games?
The live action ones?
Yeah.
Loved them.
Those are so great. Because they looked so real, too. Because videotape you can do graphics and stuff, effects in video that look so real. And those were just awesome. I love those.
And despite the aging, they hold up very, very well.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Ratchet game that you've been a part of?
I think A Crack in Time is probably my favorite. I just think that one really did play like a movie. It was that almost, to me, in my mind, that was kind of the first Ratchet and Clank movie, because it was just, if you watch that, they sent me a DVD of just the cutscenes.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
And I watched that and I'm like, yeah, I'm just like watching a movie here. It's just telling this story. And because it was really more telling his origin, I thought it was really neat. And it was beautifully acted by everybody, too.
Tools of Destruction was, being the first game in this new generation, it was the start of hey, maybe this could work. And I agree that Crack in Time totally fulfilled that destiny that continued in this movie and this game.
Yeah, I loved Into the Nexus, too. I thought that was really great. That was a neat departure, kind of a ghost story.
I like the Quest for Booty too.
Yeah,
just because it was a completely different.
There's so many. That's
really
just it. There's so many titles. They said at one point that they said we got to check and see if that is a Guinness Book World Record of somebody being in games like that. So I think David and I may have like a record for being in more games than anybody as same characters.
Consistently.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah,
and I can totally believe it.
Yeah.
Another one from Purple Ratchet. I went on opening day. It was half full of all adults, just one kid.
Oh wow!
So definitely playing to the Ratchet and Clank audience. Did you have any questions for James?
Speaking of, I know you went to a couple of the theaters, throughout the opening days. I was at one of them. But, how was it with all the fans?
That's the coolest part. I think it really is great to get that immediate reaction. And that's why I love, again, social media, is because it's unfiltered, but it's filtering through all of the critics and all the naysayers. It's people that just really want to be able to connect with you. And that's what I was experiencing at the theaters too. Yesterday, I went to a theater out in Calabasas and watched it, and this gigantic limousine, like the biggest limousine I've ever seen, pulls up, and I don't know how many kids, 15 kids, get out of this, and 2 moms. They said, "Well, this is the easiest way to take everybody." They took them to. They didn't know I was going to be there. They had.
I saw this on your Twitter.
I put it on my Twitter,
Posted
and
it,
then
right? Yeah.
and then there was we had Ratchet there in costume. The costume Ratchet there as well. These kids like hit the jackpot. They were just like going, "Oh, we'll go see Ratchet and Clank," and their moms were very nice to rent this stretch limousine for them to go to this movie in. And so I sat there for a half an hour, signing autographs and doing voices of all the different characters, and they were just like, minds blown. It was really cool. And then we all went into the theater and they all cheered. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was really neat. So I think that's the coolest part. How often is there something that means something to you as just a fan, and the rest of the world kind of doesn't see it that way? I think that's why the movie will sustain.
I agree.
I think it'll do well in video release as well too.
That's something that I'm pretty sure of, because the video game crowd, they're an ornery bunch.
Yep.
Have to get them off their couches to get them into the theater when digital streaming is such a big thing. I'm actually a little surprised that as big as Sony is into it, that they didn't do a day and date. Well, the fans can do the live stream, or can do the streaming, and the families go see it in a movie.
Yeah. I think again, because it was new waters for them, they didn't really know what to expect. I don't think they were expecting much from this. I don't mean that as a negative, but I think they kind of thought, well, yeah, we'll see. This is an experiment. So I think that's a great idea. And maybe we can do something to talk to them before the release of it on Blu-ray and DVD and stuff, and put some extra features in there that really kind of add bonus to people.
Absolutely love to. If we get, because the engine was the same for relatively the same for the movie and for the game, you can add some of those scenes from the game, pad it out. Who knows?
Yeah.
We are here for you at the Popcorn Talk. So Sony, please give us a quick contact.
Yes,
I also wanted to know, what is your favorite game that you didn't provide a voice for? Because that's a small list. That is a short list.
Oh, you're very kind. Wow. I'm partial to the Final Fantasy series, and obviously I provided, for those that don't know, I provided the voice of Tidus in Final Fantasy X and all the various games where he was in it, except for one. Thanks to Disney again. The Kingdom Hearts, I was not Tidus in it. They got a young boy to play.
Did you do his laugh?
In the game?
In the game.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole. I have a thing on my YouTube channel. You can see the real story behind that. People always kind of ask me about the laugh, and I think the assumption is that it's like, did you not know what you were doing? It's like, no, it was supposed to be a bad laugh.
Yeah.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Sounds like a dork.
That's how it was. And so we were matching the Japanese, and they played me the Japanese, and that's what the Japanese actor did as well. And it's like, it's campy. It's stupid. He's he's blowing off steam. He's trying to make her laugh. He's just being a dork, and that's what it was. And so I'm thrilled though, because I posted that on my YouTube, and it got, within a couple days, 60,000 views. People looking to see what the story was. Most people were like, "Oh, yeah, I just got it," but a lot of people were like, "Oh, really? It was supposed to be? Because I just thought you were a bad actor." It's like,
no, it's
Thanks.
subtlety. Come on.
well, he can voice all this, but he can't laugh.
But he can't laugh. No. That's the one thing he can't do. So, as we've been mentioning, you are constantly working.
Yeah. Oh, and so I would say that the Final Fantasy games that I'm not in, I like a lot of those that I wasn't in.
Some of the older ones, or
yeah,
or some of the new 3D
7
ones?
is probably the most classic, but obviously there's no voices in that really, so that's why I'm not in it.
It's not a cheat. Hey, that's a good one. So you've got a couple of projects coming up. If you did see it in theaters, you probably saw a trailer for The Wild Side, which is another film that you're working on. What are some of the stuff that you can talk about that you're working on right now?
Gosh, that's the problem. I do have a couple of things that I cannot talk about, but when they come out, we'll have to do another thing and talk about them, because I know people will be excited about them. That's about all I can say. And then now people start going, "Oh, what could it be?"
Well, I mean, what can they really pull from?
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, I'm in a lot of different franchises. So you got Star Wars, you got Back to the Future, you got Final Fantasy, you got Ratchet and Clank, you got a lot of different things, and it's not necessarily any of those.
No.
And so, and
That's the thing is you can pull from any of the franchises that you do and still go, that's everything. I have no idea what this man is up to.
Very fortunate. There's another movie that's coming out this summer where I do some voices of one of the star of the movie, and I did some of his dialogue in the film, and I know it will be in there, but I won't say who. But it's somebody that I do, and I talk about doing their voice from time to time. So,
Okay. I think I know.
yeah, so I'll be curious to see that one because I want to see is it me or is it him? Is it him? Is it him? But there's as far as Guardians of the Galaxy is out now, and of course everybody knows about that. The TV show I play Yondu, so I'm doing the Michael Rooker voice in that.
And Cosmo, the telepathic Russian Cosmo dog.
I love your Cosmo.
Everybody loves
really
Cosmo.
do.
I do too. I think he's great.
Cosmo's a crazy character too, so it really gives you as an actor a chance to really flesh it out and just have fun.
Here's one of the
psychopath.
coolest. Thank you. One of the coolest things about Cosmo is when we're recording. So we go back in and we do ADR, which is automatic dialogue replacement, where if they changed a line or whatever. Anytime you do Cosmos, it's great because his mouth doesn't move, so I don't have to worry about lip flap.
So good.
I just
speak, and then Cosmo says this, yes, and it's good, yes.
and then they put it in, and they just cut to him staring at the camera.
Just hold the frames for a couple extra seconds.
But and then what else can I talk about? Gosh, there is a couple other things. There's How to Train Your Dragon is on Netflix, and I do Jay Baruchel's doubling for that. So I will record the whole episode, and then Jay comes in and does it. But in doing that, I've also got the opportunity to play other characters in it. So I play some other characters on that show. I play Throck,
and he's this big kind of tough guy there, and so
he's coming out soon in some episodes on that, and if not already. But there's it's really tricky because I have for so many years had to edit myself as to what are you working on. Well, can I say that? I can't say that. Well, I can't say. No, I can't say. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm so glad that now we can talk about I was in The Force Awakens, and I did voices in that. There's no Star Wars weekends anymore at Disney, so that's very sad. But
are you going to Celebration?
I am not. Yeah. I have not. Warwick Davis is the host for all the European versions, and I am the host for all the American versions. And but they have not invited me. Tear.
I mean,
but so no, it's okay.
Hope to see you out there, though. I hope to be out there too, but that's a big ticket.
It's yes, it is. So no, a lot of stuff going on. I know there's something I'm forgetting, and I'm going to be driving. And going, oh, I could have talked about that, but the ones that I can't talk about, I can't say.
Okay, so before we get out of here, we do a rating on the show where we give this franchise an extra life or a game over. So depending on whether we want to see the franchise again or not, pretty sure you're in the extra life category.
Life, please, yeah, especially for people that that go, oh well, I wished this or I wished that. It's like, okay, well, stick with us.
Don't abandon it. There's no reason to abandon it if you're a fan.
Yeah.
Stacey?
I'm firmly in the extra life category.
As am I.
Okay.
This truly is one of the best adaptations of of a video game that we've covered on this show or that exists.
Easily.
Really.
Easily.
Come on, you guys are good for my ego.
Well, no. It's like this stands
though.
up with like a Mortal Kombat, which may not be a successful movie by Hollywood's traditional standards, but it plays true to the spirit of the game.
That's
which is exactly what Ratchet and Clank does. If you haven't seen it yet, why are you watching? We didn't spoil too much of the plot.
Didn't.
No, that's fine. We were just go see the movie. If you've seen it, see it again. Buy the game.
Yes.
Follow James Arnold Taylor on Twitter. Yes. So we're firmly behind Ratchet and Clank's success, and we beyond hope for even better things for this franchise in film. And we'll see it if it's a series of shorts, if it's a 45-minute Netflix series that's all about the deadlocked arena, and it's like hardcore. Like who knows?
Really great.
There's so many options with Ratchet and Clank, and the fandom will be there.
Yeah.
Just trust in it.
Okay.
Let's. Where can everybody keep up with you on Twitter? Where can, in case you do remember your project?
Yes. No, I know.
There.
Ones that I can do. Oh, there was one that I did. Again, I can't say. But the actor that was in just before me is like Really? So he was on this microphone? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, but no, that's the tricky stuff. I had an audition. I had a callback today for another project that, again, if I get that one, it'd be great. It'll be a lot of fun. So fingers crossed, folks. No. Okay, so Jat Actor, J-A-T Actor, is where you can follow me on Instagram. You can even go jamesarnoldtaylor.com, or you can do jatactor.com. It's the same thing.
Okay.
And so that's quicker to type. James Arnold Taylor. It's the longest name in showbiz. And from my website, you can submit questions for my my podcast or my vlog, my video vlogs that I do, and my Jat show that I'm doing. And you can ask me questions, and I'll answer them. And you can follow me on Twitter, and you can follow me on Instagram. I just started this new thing. It's an audio one. Have you seen it? What is it called? Oh gosh, what is it called? It's called Anchor. Have you seen it?
No, not
Anchor.
Anchor.
Anchor is basically a audio version of Twitter. So you get on and you actually then just say, "Hey everybody, what do you think of this Ratchet and Clank movie? Let me know." And then people will then say, "I thought the movie was really great." And I'll say, "Oh, well,
Interesting.
that's nice." You know. So Anchor, yeah, I just started messing around with that because of its voice, and I was fascinated by it. So
There used to be like the Twit voice that
Yeah.
a couple of your contemporaries
didn't,
used to do. It just
yeah.
didn't take off.
Didn't
So
take off.
hopefully that
Yeah.
does. It's got a fun name.
Interesting. It does.
That's right.
Follow and download Anchor and
Yes.
have a wonderful chat that's
chat,
spaced out.
because you can talk with me then.
Yeah.
You can literally say, "I had a conversation with James Arnold Taylor." Look at that, pretty good.
I mean, we're lucky enough to say that we're different persons.
That's right. You're like, yeah, I've been there, done that,
There.
James.
Stacey.
You can find me on Twitter at Ye Old Nerd, or on Twitter and across the web at Nerds Doing Stuff, where I'm a nerd doing stuff.
I love that.
And you can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. You can also find me at Jedi Alliance, which we did have Mr. James Arnold Taylor on
That's fun.
recently. That was a really fun show. Today we covered Star Wars fan films. So we talked about Hardware Wars, the most recent Darth Maul Apprentice, a lot of the fun Thumb Wars.
Did you talk about Hughes the Force?
We did not talk about Hughes the Force.
I'm in that.
Are you?
I play Obi-Wan Kenobi in that.
Goodness gracious.
And then there was
could have had you.
Summer of '78 that we did as our tribute to J.J. Abrams, and I premiered that at Celebration this last year. Both of these films were done by J.C. Reifenberg and myself. I didn't do the first one, Hughes Force. I was just in it, but yeah.
There's so many fan films out there
Yeah.
that it was really, really difficult.
Yes.
We talked about them in general and talked about some of the big ones, but yeah, we'll go back, we'll dial back, and we'll do it again because dang it was a lot of fun. So yes, make sure
Bring
to
me in on one of those. I'll
Please,
come in. Yeah,
please.
I'll come in.
So make sure to tune in to Jedi Alliance every Monday on Popcorn Talk. Also, in 2 weeks, we're going to be doing Doom in celebration for the newest release of Doom, and we're going to be having some fun guests on that as well. But until then, make sure to like and subscribe to us on iTunes, like and subscribe to us on YouTube, and leave a comment. Let us know that we're doing an okay job, because we love doing this show. It is our life's goal. So make sure, tune in 2 weeks, like, subscribe, just talk to James Arnold Taylor, because he's a wonderful human being.
on.
And we will see you at the arcade. Thank you, everybody.
See ya.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.